who couldn't work. Distance learning programs and open educational applications and platforms that schools and teachers can use to reach learners remotely and limit the disruption of education have been recommended to cope with the situation. As a response to the situation, Mercu Buana Yogyakarta University and Capiz State University of Philippines have made a commitment to work together to share thoughts that might be beneficial for the society, especially teachers and educators, to keep performing optimally regardless this difficult situation. Good morning, selamat pagi, magadang umaga. How are you? Apa kabar from Indonesia here? Kamusta kana kaibigan? Dear all participants from Philippines. Inasahan kong lahat tayo ay nasa mabuting kalusugan. I hope we are all in a good health. Let me introduce myself. I'm Daniel Ariwidyatama. Today, I will be the moderator of today's webinar. To all beloved participants coming from Indonesia and also from Philippines and maybe from abroad, we welcome you to the International Webinar Series program organized by Universitas Mercu Buana Yogyakarta and Capiz State University Philippines with a theme sailing through the global teaching approaches during COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. To start with today's agenda, ladies and gentlemen, let us pray so that we will let God lead today's agenda and evoke His presence into this event. Shall we pray? I will lead in universal way. A moment of silence, please. God, thank you for a new day. Thank you very much that your compassion is renewed every morning. Great is your faithfulness and your steadfast love. We don't know what all is going to happen today and how much we will get done, but you do. So we give this day to you. Fill us with your blessings. Energize us for your work, because you know how tired these bones are, especially during this pandemic time. Awaken us to the wonder of your salvation and quicken our spirit to the reality of your work in our life as well. In your name, we have prayed. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall begin this webinar soon. And now we would like to have an opening remark from our Dean of Teacher Training and Education, Faculty of Mercu Buana University, Yogyakarta. To Mr. Agustinus Haristiawan, SPD, MPD, SPD, MA, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Daniel, and good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes, the honorable all of the participants and also ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, first of all, let's thanks to our God, yeah, the Almighty One that has given us blessings and many benefit for us in this pandemic era, yeah, with all means and opportunity. That's why we are here together to attend this virtual meeting, yeah, entitled uh, UMBY and Capi State University webinar part 2. That's why on behalf of the Universitas Mercubuana Yogyakarta and also here specifically from the Faculty of Teachers Training and Education, it is my pleasure, yeah, to welcome you all virtually, yeah, to these occasions. Once again, UMB Capi State University Webinar Series 2 this morning. We would like to also extend our gratitude, yeah, to the first, the Honorable Dr. Edith Alphon, yeah, as the representative from Capi State University. Good morning, Dr. Edith Alphon. And then the second one, to our, yeah, all beautiful speakers here. Yeah, we have the first, Dr. Christine, yeah, F. Kuenga, PhD from the Capi State University. Thank you, Dr. Christine, and welcome to this agenda, our agenda. Yeah. Then the third, our beloved colleague, this one, also the beautiful one, yeah, Miss Valentina Dia Arom, yeah, SPD MPD. Welcome to this occasion to Mr. Valentina Dia Arom. Yeah, that's why through this meeting, we are very glad that we all meet you virtually, yeah, from all places in this world, yeah, from especially from both country, yeah, we from Philippines and also from Indonesia. We have two interesting topics that will be brought by all two beautiful speakers here. The first is about the multimodality, yeah, with entitled "When Multimodality Knows Your Students Better." A well-through of learning styles and technology in online class environment. And then the second topic by Dr. Christine Effinga, yeah, from Capi State University, entitled "Fostering Growth and Development, Looking Through the Lens of Social Emotional Learning," or SEL, yeah, in the era of pandemic. That's why, because this is our second webinar, I hope we can pass it through with successfully activity. And there are so many curiosity, of course, will emerge in this webinar series 2. I sincerely hope that this webinar will deliberate, yeah, and discuss all the different facets and exciting which interest to this topic, this both topic, and of course come up with the knowledge, yeah, and even furthermore recommendation that will lead us to a better and a merrier world through this education. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and all participants here. Finally, allow me on behalf of this ELT sharing session, webinar series to UMBY with Capi State University to welcome you all. Thank you very much. Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Pak Daniel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agustinus Haristiawan, SPD MA. And thank you also for welcoming all of the participants of today's webinar from Yogyakarta, Indonesia. And now we shall hear the opening remark from the president of Capi State University, Dr. Edita Alphon. I give the floor
Thank you, Sir
to you,
Daniel.
Doctor.
Thank
You're
you, Sir
welcome.
Daniel. Good morning and welcome everyone to this webinar meeting. Given the challenge posed by COVID-19 pandemic, it is fitting that we focus more on this meeting. We look forward for more research presentation between Capi State University and the Universitas Mercobuana, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. We are privileged to welcome our distinguished guests, our international contributors, and all of you to this webinar. Lastly, allow me to acknowledge our dynamic people behind this very noble and enriching research activity. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edita Alfon, for a very oh. Thank you very much, Dr. Edita Alfon, for the heartwarming welcoming remark. And now we shall proceed to the next agenda. Before we start this webinar session, I would like to read for you our rundown of today's webinar. Okay. First of all, this webinar will be started by the first speaker, that is Ms. Valentina Dia Arumsari, SPD M.Hum, and she will deliver her talk entitled When Multimodality Knows Your Students Better, a well thought of learning styles and technology in online class environment. As her talk finishes, then the second presenter of today's webinar will start the talk. That is Dr. Christine Francisco Cuenca, PhD. I'm sorry, I repeat. Dr. Christine Francisco Cuenca, that will deliver her talk entitled Fostering Growth and Development, looking through the lens of SEL, that stands for Social Emotional Learning in the era of pandemic. In this webinar, all webinar participants could participate by giving question after all the two presenters finish their talk. And you will have around 15 minutes to deliver your questions. For those who are joining this webinar from YouTube, you may also deliver your questions on the chat box in YouTube channel. And in order to deliver your questions in this Zoom chat, so please kindly write down your questions on the chat box on Zoom and write your name and also give information to whom your questions are addressed to. And at the end of, before this webinar ends, I will deliver the exit ticket so as you can access that in order to get the e-certificate. So in short, for those who are not accessing this exit ticket, they might not receive the e-certificate. So once again, you are about to receive the e-certificate if you are joining this webinar from the beginning to the end of the webinar. And then at the exit ticket, you will also find an evaluation form. So we beg your participation to fill in the forms so as we can assess the success of of this webinar for our improvement. All right, and now we shall move to the next section. I would like to read the rules of today's webinar. First, of course, you have registered to this link, and only those who registered through this link that will be able to attend this webinar session. And this session will perform two presenters, and there will be one moderator that will lead the event. And then during the webinar, the participants may turn on their webcam. However, the host will deactivate the participant's microphone until we come to Q&A section. And each presenter will have 25 minutes to deliver his or her thoughts. And the Q&A section will begin after all the presenters finish their talk. All participants are supposed to join the webinar from the beginning until the end of the section. And I would like to repeat the previous information that only those who fill in the exit ticket at the end of the webinar will get the e-certificate. In this event, both moderator and presenters will use English. And all participants could give questions to the presenters through chat box, though we will also invite you to give questions using microphone. And the presentation slides from the presenter will be shared before the event ends. All dear participants could also follow our Instagram and also our other social media. Thank you. And that's all for the rules of the webinar. All right. Now, we shall start with our first presenter. And before we continue, I would like to read a short curriculum vitae of our first presenter. Allow me to share Miss Valentina Dia Arumsari curriculum vitae. So she has been an experienced lecturer in English Education Study Program of Universitas Mercu Buana Yogyakarta. And she has some work experiences before finally she ended up in English Education Study Program of UMBY. She has been a teacher in some schools before, and she graduated from master program of English Studies in Sanata Dharma University, Yogyakarta, with quite a high GPA. And in 2019, she also received a research grant from the local education, high education agency in Yogyakarta. And she has been the third runner-up of e-learning, of a lecturer who conducts e-learning in 2019. And she is interested in teaching English for young learners class. So there is a short curriculum vitae of our first presenter today. And now, without further ado, let us have the first talk from Miss Valentina Dia Arumsari, entitled When Multimodality Knows Your Students Better, a well thought of learning styles and technology in online class environment. Miss Arum, are you ready?
Yes, sir, Daniel.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have Ms. Arum's talk. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. So allow me to share screen first. Okay, Mr. Daniel, can you give me a clue whether the slide is already there? Can you see the slides?
It is showing, yeah.
Okay,
Good.
thank you. Okay, good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Valentina Diarumsari, and I am from University of Multimodality, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. I am so thankful for this opportunity that I can be one of presenters in webinar series as a collaboration work between Capital State University, Philippines, and also University of Multimodality, Jakarta, Indonesia. Thus, allow me to firstly greet my dear colleagues from Capital State Universities and also to the Excellencies, the Capital State University President, Dr. Edita Alfond, and also the another speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Kristen. Hello, how are you? And here to begin my sharing, yes, probably later on, I'm not going to have do that theoretically, but more on sharing what I've learned, what I've got. And here I would like to firstly read my title, the topic's title. It is Multimodality, when multimodality knows your students better, well thought of learning styles and online class environment. Like, so to begin the sharing, I will start with playing a video and hopefully that you can watch it and the sounds can be also listened. And this is the video. Okay, so actually, why I took this video, actually this video is taken from one of the YouTube channel. It is owned by Karen Puzzles, the one that is having an expertise and also having a contents of doing the puzzle games in her YouTube channel. And why I'm using this video to begin my sharing, because when I'm preparing this presentation, when I'm preparing this sharing, so what comes to my mind is the analogy of the learning situation in this pandemic situation, like what we have in the puzzle games video like this. So at the first time, let's say on the February 2020, we have kinds of plans. We have the well-organized plan. We have the perfect plans. What we are going to do later on in the new semester. In our institution in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, so we usually begin the new semester on March. Therefore, on the February 2020, actually, we were so excited at the time. We were so having lots of ideas that later on to be delivered and also to be implemented to our students, to our teaching and learning process. Like in the box, the tidy box in the video that you have watched just now. So actually that is the ideas that actually it's already that we have, that probably we have implemented or even applied in the previous semesters, in the previous years, something like that. But once when the box containing of the puzzles pour out and then becoming the jumbled puzzles, it's just like when the COVID-19 becoming the global pandemic situation, just like now. And it's just like the puzzles are jumbled and the ideas that we've already arranged, that we've already planned before, it's also like coming there and coming here. We don't have any direction. We have no navigation for that teaching and learning process that we are going to face later on. How about our students? How about this and that? So there are so many anxiety in our minds that we can't what is that like made thought. Okay, and then the process, okay, rearranging the puzzles. So it is actually the one that also what we are doing right now, like we are attending the conferences of research, we are attending the webinar like this, we are sharing the thoughts with our colleagues, we are probably also share the hard times together, like only listening to our friends evaluation or ideas or anything that probably can making the jumbled puzzles into a completed one. Okay, and also if you see, and if you are a puzzle lover, so you will see that the video is kind of a irregular. It is done irregularly to rearrange the jumbled puzzles, because usually for rearranging the puzzle, so we usually coming from the edges of the puzzles, right? Okay, but here in this video, so Karen, the one who is rearranging the puzzles there, she is trying to have irregular way, like coming from the middle, and then anyways that she wants to do until later on, actually in the end of this video, so you will have rainbow puzzles which have a meaning of bliss and hope, right? So this is what also what we are doing now, right? So probably we are not doing something which is regular. We are doing something which is irregular. Probably we never thought before that, oh my God, I can do it. I'm not too technology savvy, but then actually I can do it right now. I'm not that too I'm probably having a fatigue for having Zoom meeting or having the virtual meeting with my students, but now I can't. But now I can. Sorry, but now I can. So this is the irregular patterns that we are implementing right now, and this time, so actually, the process of rearranging the puzzles. And in the reality, so the process of us to fulfilling the missing points of what the pandemic situation, the learning situation in the pandemic situation, in the new normal condition should do. So this is what we are having now. And then for this time, let me share what I've learned and also what I found, what I've observed, and hopefully we'll feel also in the missing space in the online learning situations. And this is about the synchronous and asynchronous learning. This is the infographics of the synchronous and asynchronous learning. And this time, I think that almost all institutions have learning management systems, LMS, and every teachers, every lecturers, instructors are now becoming more ready and accustomed to the types of online learning. Okay, so whether you use the synchronous learning, whether you use the asynchronous learning, so the point here is actually, yeah, whether the type of learning that you apply is really suitable on the students' needs, whether it fits on their demands of learning. And here, since Mr. Daniel in the beginning already mentioned that um, I have an interest in teaching English for young learners. So here also, yes, I started to grow my expertise in teaching English for young learners. So here later on, probably I will talk, yes, I will talk about a field in teaching English for young learners. Okay, so if you are the young learners teachers or young learners lecturers, okay, or lecturers teaching of the same what is that subject like me teaching English for young learners, so probably you can share in the chat box, or yes, later on you can probably in the question and answer session you can also share about your thoughts about what type of learning do you apply. Is it synchronous, asynchronous, or you try to combine both of them, synchronous and asynchronous? Because actually by using the synchronous or asynchronous or mix both of them, so actually I know and I believe that now, okay, since we've faced the pandemic situation, the online learning, remote teaching for about almost 10 months, okay, so I think that each of us already know about the advantages and disadvantages of using the type of learning. Okay, probably later on you can share about the type of learning do you apply. Okay, so and here actually I will tell you about this, about the learning styles. Like I've mentioned before that whether you will use the synchronous or asynchronous or mix both of them actually. So the materials that you prepare or the condition of the teaching and learning process, in my opinion, so we should consider about the students' needs and also about the learning styles that they owned. As stated by Fleming and Mills, 1992, and as quoted by Mercy, V, 2001, actually there are 4 learning styles, and I will use the VARC proposed by Fleming and Mills to discuss about the learning styles and later on into the relation with the multimodality. Well, so here, I want to know about what type of learners are you. So could you please go to www.menti.com and use the code 6456706, or you can also scan this barcode, or you can also access the link, probably my friend from UMBY, Ms. Lulu can help me to share the link, okay? And then the participant can access the menti.com to share about what type of learners are you, okay? Or you can also share about your thoughts through the chat, okay? You can also telling us about, oh, actually, I'm an auditory learners. Oh no, I'm a kinesthetic learners. I think I am a reading, writing learners. But I am the combination of those 4. Okay, so probably we are going to see about your responses. Let's wait for a while, okay, for having your responses. Okay. Yes, thank you, Mr. Daniel, for giving the link. Yeah, so go to www.menti.com and use the code 6456706. Or you can also respond this to the chat. Okay, we are going to see about, okay, so let me see. Okay, so here we got the responses already. Thank you so much. So we have the auditory learners, we have visual learners, we have reading, writing learners, kinesthetic learners as well. Okay, yes. But anyway, have you ever taken a test to assess what type of learners are you? Or how you know about that actually I am an auditory learners, that I'm actually a kinesthetic learners? Are you trying to assess it or observing by the habits of learning that you have, something like that? Okay, so we're reaching for about 51 responses. So here, okay, hopefully that this can be also the representative of the participant of 200 and so on participants in this Zoom room. So I can conclude that we have more visual learners in the Zoom room than auditory learners, reading, writing learners, and also kinesthetic learners. Wow. Well, so hopefully that my PPT slide, so it can it can ease your eyes, it can ease your visuals so that you're not going to getting bored. Because visual learners later on, if the characteristic of visual learners, so please check on your own self. If you see that it's too boring, it's too boring, so it's going to be like, okay, you're going to be like fidgety, you're going to be restless, and you're going to like playing your pen, something like that, tick tock, something like that, or you're going to like having another things to be done, yeah, because you don't get what your eyes, what your visual needs demanded. Okay, yes. So okay, visual learners are okay. So visual learners dominant in this what is that, on this Mentimeter, on this vote. Okay, thank you so much for your responses. Okay. Okay, now.
Isuso taon? Makina na?
Okay. Okay, so actually I have also several characteristics that can help you check by your own self whether you are really a visual learners, auditory. Okay, so the visual learners, it has, I mean, he or she own the characteristics like sees to learn. Okay, so you like to have the pictures, diagrams, and then charts, something like that. And when you having notes or modules or textbooks, so you usually will highlight your text, something like that, the text, something like that, so that it will give you an easier process to remember it, to absorb it, and you like images, colors. So hopefully that my colorful slides in here, so it can also ease your visual demand. and you like to look around. Okay, you tend to start looking around for something to watch or look at when you lose interest, something like that. And then struggles with, you can find spoken directions hard to remember, and you are easily distracted by noise. So when you are remembering somebody, but by his or her face, but not remember his or her name, so probably you are the visual learners. And the auditory learners, okay, these are the characteristics. So you likes to hears to learn, yes, and then probably if in the class, so you have students that likely to want having the MP4 or his or her smartphone to record with your permission, of course, the lecturing session that you do. So probably those students are auditory learners, and you will like discussions, you will like sharing the thoughts, okay, among friends, something like that, and avoid noise. So you will like to what focus more without noise, something like that. So you are the auditory learners. How about the other two? So the read write learners, it actually has the characteristics. So the students or the learners are likely to like to read something and then write it down, or jotting down on the paper or typing down on their laptops or devices, yeah, so that it will help her or him easily to remember and absorb the knowledge. And kinesthetic or tactile learners, so actually this kind of students likes to learn, likes to moves to learn. Okay, so you can't have them like sit back and relax on their seat, okay, for a long time, but because they will like feeling bored, and they will like starting to stand up, and probably they likes to go to their friends desk, something like that. And yes, it is the kinesthetic learners, but actually they are so what great in um yeah, they, even though they are having a short attention, but they actually have a good what imagination, something like that. And then also they will more likely doing science, something like that, experiment, something like that, to help them remember the knowledge, to help them absorb the lessons. So those are the learning styles: for visual, auditory, and then read, write, and kinesthetic or tactile learners.
Excuse me, Miss Arum. We
Yes.
still have 5 minutes left.
Oh yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so this is about also related to the learning styles. We will have also the multimodality, okay, in the relation on the learning styles, because multimodality is the involvement of two or more modes of communication in learning a language. Okay, so actually modes here in the multimodality here, we have 5 modes. We have linguistic, visual, oral, spatial, and gestural. And then each of them will, of course, in the relation with the learning styles. And by knowing and realizing about learning styles of the students and multimodality, actually it will raise our awareness to why not we create materials, lesson materials that having the multimodality, okay, that can accommodate the learning styles that our students have. Therefore, here, there are 2 platforms that can accommodate multimodality. Allow me to share about this. It is Story Jumper and Book Reader. For the Story Jumper, actually you can go to www.storyjumper.com. It's free. You can access it for free. And then later on you can provide, because here I am having focus on the TEYL, but actually for Story Jumper and Book Reader, so teenagers, I mean adolescents also like it, because I also applied this for my first semester students, and they love it also for making the basic writing project. So here is how the story jumper. Okay, so actually later on you can sign in first in the story jumper, and if you are a teacher, so you can sign in as a teacher role, and later on you can go and start to create your book. Later on, probably if we have time in the question answer session, probably we are going to see about how the story jumper looks, the tutorial I mean. So here on the story jumper, so you can have the visual, and you can also
Once upon a time,
include the audio
deep in the woods,
by recording your own voices. So it is authentic. Your students, you may have the authentic lesson materials or authentic assignment.
there lived Daddy Bear, Mommy Bear, and Baby Bear.
Okay. Yeah. And also, besides story jumper, we have also book creator. Okay. And for the book creator and the story jumper, actually, it can what? Both of them can be imported to the Google Classroom if you use Google Classroom or Google platform. And you can also, in the book creator, you can also download into the PDF files. But of course, once you download into the PDF, so of course the audio files will be missed out. Okay. And later on, if we later on, if I have extra times later on, so I am going to also showing you about how Book Creator can accommodate the kinesthetic students. So not only the visual, auditory learners, but reading, writing students, but also kinesthetic students. Well, I think that my time is almost up, isn't it, Mr. Daniel?
Right.
So, yeah, if I can conclude in this online learning, and if later we can have the offline learning back after the pandemic situation ended, so we have to always remember that we are not facing the same individuals, we are facing the unique and also the special students. I mean, they will share different characteristics, different learning styles. So it's gonna be better if we stop expecting something great from them if we can't give them also the materials that is actually can accommodate and facilitate their learning styles or learning needs. Thank you, and hopefully later on. So I really want to show the tutorial of Story Jumper and Book Reader, but later on after the okay, in the question and answer session. Okay, so thank you so much, and hopefully that this short sharing beneficial for everybody here. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Daniel.
All right. Thank you very much for the enlightening sharing, Miss Valentina Diah Arumsari. I believe that most of you are still curious to know how to apply the two platforms, which I thought they are very futuristic and will be so much helpful to accommodate multimodalities to our students. Okay, so for all beloved participants, please kindly share your thoughts, opinions, and also questions to the chat box that I found here. Um, yeah, I still haven't found any questions yet, but hopefully later you can give your questions there. Okay. All right. So thank you, Miss Arum. And now we'd like to proceed to our second speaker. Okay. I believe that you cannot wait to hear her talk. But before that, allow me to share a short review of Dr. Kuenga's curriculum vitae here. A second, please. All right. So, Dr. Christine Francisco, she earns her master program or master degree from Philamer Christian University, and it was in 2016, I believe. And then the honors received is Benemeritus. I hope my pronunciation is right here. And she also earned her doctoral degree from the same institution, Philamer Christian University. And her major was Doctor of Philosophy in Instructional Leadership with concentration in English. It was in 2019, so she graduated in 2019. So she knows a lot about uh, leadership and policy and stuff, I guess. Apart from that, she has apparently quite a lot of work experiences. And up to now, she has been an instructor in Capi State University, uh, to be exact, in Burias campus. And she also got several experiences in non-academic sectors. And also, she also joined so many organizations, and she's quite active in some community, such as Capi State University Federation of Faculty and Employees Association, and Philippine Association of Institutions for Research, and so on. And regarding to the awards and recognition that she has ever received, in 2017, she's got the Best Paper Presenter, okay, given by ISCOF Graduate Students Day. And there are still a lot of appreciations that she earned in the previous years. And not only that, she also got 10 years of participations in some seminars and conferences. So it will take a day, I guess, if I had to read this whole information, but I guess we could just listen and learn from the sharing from Dr. Kuenga. So without further ado, yeah, Dr. Kuenga, the time is yours, and she will deliver a speech entitled Fostering Growth and Development, looking through the lens of social emotional learning in the era of pandemic. For me, this will complete the sharing from Ms. Valentina Dia Arum that just began a few
Thank
minutes
you.
ago. Yeah. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Sir Daniel. And hi, Ma'am Val. So I'm up. Am I allowed now to share my screen, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So happy New Year and good morning to our friends and fellow educators from Capi State University and from our friends in Universitas Mercu Buana Yogyakarta. Salamat pagi. It is nice to be with you all today. This is an unprecedented time for education. The pandemic has produced a variety of critical challenges for everyone, and current events are causing stress related to job, financial worries, health risks, and of course, disruption to our normal routines. However, we do not want to be left stranded in this era, confused and afraid. Like what we want for our students, we have to take risks and learn and create opportunities. So this morning, let us have a glimpse on the topic fostering growth and development, looking through the lens of social emotional learning in the era of pandemic. Despite these difficult times, it is very important for us to remain hopeful. So before we start, may I request everyone to please join me in doing our morning affirmation. And I really believe that this could help us, or this is a great way to start our day. So please repeat after me. I am amazing. I am strong and determined.
I am strong and
I am
determined.
strong and determined.
Today is a new beginning.
Today is a new beginning.
I am ready to learn.
I
I
am
am
ready
ready
to
to
learn.
learn.
There you have it. Thank you very much. I hope you are feeling refreshed. And of course, you continue to believe that with your capabilities, you will be able to achieve many things. At this point, let us have a throwback in the year 2021 where this all began. And let us ponder on this following article. So the first one is from the Philippines and from the Manila Times, which says Grade 8 learner of Tubala National High School was found hanging inside their house in Davao Occidental on October 18, caused by alleged pressure and difficulty in learning school modules. The second article is from Kami, and it shows a picture of a girl crying because she was overwhelmed by the pressure and the requirements provided by her professors. The third picture article is still from the Philippines, which says a 21-year-old student commits suicide due to online classes. And the last one is from Bangalore Mirror, and that is a publication in Indonesia which has a headline that says the pandemic pushed children into online classroom and that is pushing them over the edge. And to put it broadly, because according to this article, our students or our learners were forced to put to stand before or to sit before the computer screen in for them to participate in the class. But take note, the online classroom. And to put it broadly, we have the following according to the article. The kids are having a hard time self-regulating themselves because some of them are not doing their homeworks. Some of them would tend to turn off their video during their online classes. And of course, they would tend to surf the internet with about other things. And this is also a chance for them to be exposed to unnecessary things. And one of that is pornography. And of course, the article would also like to emphasize the screen time of the children. For the second one, these are for the children who have social anxiety because whenever they participate in their online classes, they find when you find the spotlight on them, they would tend to be more self-conscious. And for the third one, the pop culture is also reflecting the toll that online classes have on our students because just like for example the Instagram wherein the creators are making videos of students who are cheating during online exams and of course the students who are presenting the reports and then they would stammer because of anxiety. And for YouTube, and I know you have seen this one because videos on YouTube are very funny. Some of them are not that good because kids are trolling their teachers who are still getting the hang of using technology in facilitating the teaching learning process. But these are painful realities. But who can blame who when everyone was clouded by different emotions and things have been very difficult to comprehend? And as an educator, some of the worst things that you can probably hear from your students are this is ridiculous. Why are we even learning this? Crap, why do we even bother? But let us travel back in time and remember when you were still a student and think of the subjects that caused you the most frustration. And maybe you'd likely find some common ground with your students in wishing you were given clear reasons why something was important and how learning a subject or a skill would benefit you now or the years to come. And that frustration and finding constructive ways to deal with your emotions and interact with one another in respectful ways are just some of the guiding principles of social emotional learning. And remember that in an ever diversifying world, still the classroom, whether it is a four-wall classroom or your online classroom, it is still a place that would expose your students and your learners to a wide range of people with various beliefs and possess unique capabilities. And to account for these differences, this is to put all your students on an equal footing to succeed. This is the role, or this is where the social emotional learning is a big help. Actually, there are many names for social emotional learning. One is non-cognitive skills. The second one is soft skills. We also have 21st century skills, full child, and character strengths. But what really is social emotional learning? According to Globe Newswire, social emotional learning focuses on understanding and management of your emotions among children and adults to achieve positive goals and establish positive relationships for making responsible decisions. This is an integrative process and a gradual process which helps our children and adults to understand, experience, manage, and express emotions, and most of all, to learn, develop meaningful relationships. And of course, according to CASTLE, this is an organization which is devoted to students and educators to help achieve positive outcomes through the use of social emotional learning, that there are 5 core competencies that can be applied in both the classroom, in the student's home, and in the communities. So these are the following. The first one is self-awareness. Second one, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. So these 5 core competencies, for the first one, self-awareness, it helps you foster optimism and responsible decision-making. For self-management, it helps you to improve areas such as organizational skills, stress management, impulse control, and social discipline. For our social awareness, this ability helps you to empathize in an ethical manner. Moreover, for our relationship skills, it helps you to make positive connections that includes listening well, communicating effectively, and identifying the appropriate and inappropriate social behaviors in different situations. And the last one, making responsible decision. This one talks about it requires you to consider uh, consequences of different potential actions. And this could be integrated in your lessons. But why SEL is important more than ever? Because the world is in a new normal, which means distance learning, distance teaching, and distance meetings. And where everyone seems to be out of reach. Remember that physical connection is still very important, but we cannot do that because we are in the era of pandemic. And of course, let us deny the fact that until now, though we are in 2021, COVID-19 is still causing trauma and uneasiness And these challenging circumstances has forced our students nationwide to pursue their education in entirely new ways, and that is using the new technology. And let us not forget, of course, our dear teachers, our administrators. This pandemic has never been kind to teachers as well, as they shifted their classrooms from physical to online. I know that there are no words to describe their struggle, their anxiety to continue facilitating the teaching and learning process, and of course to continue being a model, to continue to make a difference in the lives of our learners. And according actually to Cristina Cipriano, a director of research at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, it is next to impossible to expect teaching and learning to occur in a crisis without attending to our emotions. Actually, the science of learning has found that one learns within social contexts, that emotions are essential for learning, and that the social brain is the leading force in cognition. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that social and emotional skills go hand in hand. Your emotional skills talk on identifying, expressing, and managing your emotions, while your social skills lead you in making connections, relating to others, negotiating, building relationships, meaningful relationships with peers, adults, and colleagues. That means cell is really your power, because cell help our students better understand and identify what they feel, especially in this era, especially in how they respond to the teaching and learning process that we do not do the traditional one anymore. And of course, it can also help develop empathy on our part as teachers to be more considerate and compassionate. And of course, to increase self-control and manage stress as usual with both the paperworks and everything. And let us not deny the fact that we have also our personal lives. It also helps our students build better relationships and interpersonal skills that will serve them in school and beyond, and that could help them succeed as adults. And actually, one best example now in that is emerging as one of the benefits in explicitly teaching cell is that it builds the emotional intelligence and agility that business and industry is starting to name or to acknowledge as the most desired workforce skills for their future workers and employees. And of course, let us highlight the fact that by equipping these learners or young people with how to navigate the social and emotional arenas, we help them as their teachers develop their self and reach their full potential. And we also want our generation of leaders to the need to develop deep levels of self and social awareness, dynamic relationship, building skills, and thoughtful decision making. Because at the end of the day, what will always matter is the impact to the other person, and of course, how that action made you feel. But let us please remember that cell alone will not resolve all the needs of our education system, but it will be a critical component in helping schools and universities prepare students to contribute to the post-COVID-19 world. And that makes cell as an incredible foundation to build upon. And as educators, where are we in this one? Remember that we are in a unique position to provide support and stability for our learners and for their families as well. And you know what? We design the most important thing in this world. Do you know what is that? Learning experience. And that is where skills acquisition come in. But how can we facilitate the teaching of social emotional learning? And I have three numbers in mind. The first one is We have to teach students to recognize emotions through literature. That's on my part. And you may also integrate that in your lessons by asking students to practice coping skills during a challenging assignment or activity that you are including in your learning modules, or asking students to self-reflect after completing a project. And one example I have included in my learning module is the self-assessment, where it could help them develop self-awareness on how they are, what do they know about communication, and how are they as a communicator. Another one is they are given a situation and they are asked to do a reflection. And also, it will help them develop self awareness. And of course, let us deny the fact that in having the online class, if you are using that, you can create relationship with your students. And of course, let us not deprive them in giving them tasks and jobs, because it helps them to develop self-management and relationship skills. For number two, we have to create a virtual learning space that feels safe, supportive, and inviting, because it is a key component of supporting students' social and emotional well-being, because it helps you feel at ease whenever you feel that the environment is friendly and safe. For the third one, you have to focus on staying connected to students and help them stay connected in one another. And that is where your Facebook Messenger, if you have, there is also a message in Instagram and Twitter. You can also do that. But I think most of us are using Facebook Messenger. And that is one way, one mode that we can ask our students how are they doing and how are they, where are they now in their learning modules, or are there anything that they are worried about that we could help them adjust with. And again, because I love teachers, because I am a teacher myself, let us remember that social emotional competence and well-being reflect in our classroom behavior management and how we interact with our students and how we respond to their questions. So we have to help also ourselves how to adjust in this era, and it will also help us to significantly impact our relationship with our students and our colleagues as well. Because according to Kelly McGonigal, we all have the tendency to believe self-doubt and self-criticism, but listening to this voice never gets us closer to our goals. Instead, try on the point of view of a mentor or a good friend who believes in you, wants the best for you, and will encourage you when you feel discouraged. And as educators, that is what we want to feel, right? And I think for our students as well, they would also like to have that kind of mentor and a good friend as well to see them succeed in the future. And to end my presentation, please to remember that the pandemic, although it is very difficult, but it has allowed us to gain new perspectives to what and how we teach, as well as of the conditions that best support student learning. The disruption of classes and daily lives has emphasized resilience, relationship, agency, and emotional security are not nice to haves, but they are foundational to learning and to the productivity. Hashtag build social and emotional skills into any class. Thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Christine, for your thoughts and also so many uh, new principles are around here. So thank you very much. We learned a lot about how to cope with uh, materials design, which were developed through under base of multimodalities presented by Miss Valentina Diah Arum, and we just learned from Dr. Christine about how to increase, yeah, social emotional learning of students during this pandemic, and how we educators should react to the students' mental health and their well-being. Well, we now come to the part that you have been waiting for. Okay, this is question and answer sections. And on the chat box here, we haven't found any questions yet that probably you are still finding out the points that you think, okay, that you think you need more clarification. So please, once again, don't hesitate to write your questions here. The resourceful presenters, keynote speakers, surely will help you to answer your questions, to answer your curiosity.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes.
actually the chat box is disabled. If you could check.
Okay.
Yep.
So let us check once again. Okay, I will remind my team to, I mean the host teams to activate the chat box. Is it already active right now?
Yes, I guess it's already active. Sir, Sir
Mhm.
Edwin, you may
I,
ask.
mhm.
You may ask already if you have questions, sir.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me start off. This is Edwin James from Capsu Sigma. So for our first speaker on the topic, when modality knows your students better, um, you have discussed regarding the different types of learners. Now, my question is, do you have data on what is the distribution of the students based on VARK? And since tertiary institutions are increasing the emphasis on generating, collecting, and analyzing student data as a means of targeting student support services, is there any program currently available in your end that could help each segment of the students?
Okay, so that was a question from Mr. Edwin James. Is everything clear for you, Miss Valentina Dia Arum?
Okay, so let me confirm it. So
Mhm.
it's about is there any like kind of what survey, something like that, to find out about the types of learners in our institution, something like that, Sir Edwin? Oh yeah, so he is writing on the chat
Yeah,
box
on the
like
chat
multiple
box.
questions. Yeah, so data on what is the distribution of your students based on fork. And okay, so actually for having the kind of survey, or like let's say the what yeah, the survey, yeah. So actually I've done it in previous class on 3 classes. Actually the first one is, but it is not done in, and I mean under the institutions or under department, but I did it on my own classes. And yes, actually they have several and various learning styles and the fork here. So they say that they are visuals, auditory, reading, writing learners, and also kinesthetic. So actually, this is, I've done the interview as well with several of the students related also. Is it the story jumper and also the book creator that actually they have it as the final project to serve the multimodality even in the basic writing class. So I also use the story jumper and book creator in the basic writing class, even though this is only on the spatial skill, which is writing, but I'm trying to input the multimodality materials over there. So they are not only writing and typing on the blog or on the Microsoft or something like that, but they are trying to also integrate their ideas, and also probably they are having the type of learners of auditory or kinesthetic, so they can also express and explore their ideas, their uh, what uh, learning styles typical there. And they say that even though they are kinds of the auditory, and from there actually the answers are coming up. So they are starting to say that, Miss, actually I am kinds of the kinesthetic learners, but I love this, and I actually kinds of the auditory learners. So by having the story jumper and book creator platform, so it helps me a lot in loving writing, not only by using the blogs or using the captions for fulfilling the Instagram account, something like that. So the answer is yes, actually it is done for the survey and also for the interview, one not one by one, but I just give the questions to my students in our WhatsApp group, and then they respond it to me privately, and we start to having a conversation related to their learning styles. And from the previous semester, also I did also kind of the multimodality research, but it is on the listening skill, and for facilitating the listening skill and having the multimodality approach. So we use the TED Talks videos, which also can combines the text, combines the visual gestures, and also the auditory, of course. So yes, from that reasons as well. So, and from the Google form that I spread to my students. So yes, it's coming up about what is actually their learning style, but it's not under the department or institution for uh, conducting the what is that, survey or interview. Hopefully it is answered, Sir Edwin.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, let me proceed to my second question, which is for our second speaker. Now,
Okay, sure.
okay,
You may
for
go.
question, for those who are new to SEL, SEL means competencies are essential knowledge, skills, attitudes, and mindsets that individuals need to succeed. Now, doctor, in your opinion, which of these competencies should we focus as new to the mode of instruction or as new instructors?
Thank you very much, Sir Edwin. For students, maybe on my own opinion, we could have the self-regulating or self-management skills, because it can help them on their areas in improving, like how to set goals, impulse control, and that is really an emphasis on our part, because students nowadays, because if they don't like anything, they would immediately say, I don't like this, I don't like that. So with the use or with the integration of self-management skills in our lessons, maybe that could help them control and manage their emotions, and of course self-discipline. I hope that answers your question, sir.
Thank you very much. That is very uh, helpful for us. Like for me, I'm actually a new instructor for this. Now, my follow-up question on this regard is that, do you have any tips in measuring students' SEL competencies that could be used by those who are new to this form of instruction?
Actually, yes, sir. Thank you. Actually, sir, there are educators are trying to develop high quality assessment tools. But for now, we are doing like classroom observations. That's how we acquire data from our students so far. During the traditional one, we would use class observations, and we can still do that during our online classroom. But since some of us are using modular classroom, I think that could be through activities, and where we could develop rubrics, and you would emphasize in that rubrics what area or what criteria are you gonna assess. I believe that could help the use of rubrics. Thank you,
All right.
sir.
Much, Dr. Kirsty. Sir Daniel, I turn over to you.
Thank you very much, Sir Edwin, James, for the questions. As I told you earlier, that these topics are very, very important nowadays. Yeah. Okay, so we have growing number of questions here in chat box. So let me pick one of them for the presenters. Okay, I'd like to pick one from Miss John Ray Lantoria or Mr. So sorry. I don't know whether it is male or female. The question is, good morning. This question is for Dr. Koenga. How do we measure growth and mastery of cell?
I
Dr.
think that is
Koenga.
that is similar to the question of Sir Edwin. And as I have said, it is to develop, the educators now are developing high quality assessment. But for now, we are beginning with class observations, student assessment, and the use of rubrics in order to assess and to see the growth of our students in using SEL.
Okay. I actually wonder, and I'm curious to have one question, but later, whenever we still have time. Let me prioritize the time to our participants first. And this one goes to um, Mem Sari. Okay. From Miss Marianita Akuna. And she's asking, yeah, she's from CAPSU Dayo. May I know what would be the kind of modalities that you can suggest to be adapted to adult students that would fit their learning responses? Yeah, Miss Arum, your time to answer.
Thank you so much for the questions. For Ms. Malo Vasquez. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Miss Marianita.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So actually, here about the multimodality. So I work with several skills like listening. I do the research for the listenings, and the one that I can propose if we want to, if we doesn't want to create our multimodal lesson materials by ourselves, so actually you can go to TED Talks or or the YouTube video. Actually, it's also kinds of the multimodality because it can also combining, it combines the more than one mode. So it combines the pictures, it combines the images, gesture, facial expressions, event, and also the text when you want activate the caption feature over there. So of course, the students who is in the reading writing learners type, so they will be so helped by having those kind of platform. But of course, by using the that platform, so to accommodate the kinesthetic learners, so of course we need to put another or additional activities to facilitate their learning needs. So for example, in the assignment or in the in the beginning, so they can have kinds of the ice breaking or the building knowledge presentation by the lecturers or by the teachers, but still related to the topics. Actually, and what is that? Actually, by using the I'm none of the marketing officers or staffs of the Story Jumper or Book Creator, but I do not know. But I think that those platforms are great. And actually, by using those platforms also, it's not only for children who will love it, but also adolescents will love it. My first semester students use it and they also fall in love with this, with those two platforms, because again, they can create from the beginning, from the building knowledge, from the presentation. They can include the physical exercise, yeah, by including or embedded the link of physical exercise like singing, dancing, or probably you can have the scavenger hunt games as well included in that, what is that, story jumper or book creator, since it can embed it, the links. And you can also like what actually I have an idea about the having the scavenger hunt game, something like that. And what is that for the adolescents, because scavenger games is hunt games is great for the adolescents too, for adult learners too. So actually on the beginning, so you can like because on Study Jumper and the book creator, you can also record your own voice, so you can lead them to, what is that,
Excuse me, Miss
direct them.
Arum.
Yes.
Would you please make it shorter?
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so actually by having those two platforms, yeah, so far, so actually it is sufficient for accommodating the heterogeneous and also the various learners type. Yeah. So in listening, you can use the ED Talks or YouTube videos, but of course, don't forget to also include the kinesthetic learners type, something like that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Miss Valentina Dia Arum, for
You're welcome.
the uh, answers. And now we still have a few number of questions left. Now we have one question for Dr. Koinga. This question is from Miss Arkile Abogadi, and she is asking, how does cell impact learning? And maybe you may also answer these questions as well from Miss or Mr. Carmeli, Miss, I guess, Carmeli Grace, who is asking, how can cell be applied for a synchronous mode of teaching where students are taught through modules? Your time, ma'am.
Thank you, Sir Daniel. For the first question, how does cell impact learner? Well, cell is part of a well-rounded education, and according to researches, that the results show that it improves better stress management and the classroom behavior management. Of course, it also affected to the measures like either attendance, if there is a safe and secure friendly environment, I'm sure the students would love to be in school. And of course their test scores and the career readiness. It is it highly impacts the learning, because according to many researches, it shows that it contributed to um, achievement in school. For the second question, as on my part, I have been including this in my learning module. I would include activities that would arouse the interest of the students, such as asking them the self-assessment form, which I showed earlier, and asking them about a specific topic and how they find themselves. Of course, another one is the reflection, where I would give activities. I let I hope they are, as far as I'm concerned, they show commitment, because I would check it in our Facebook Messenger, and some of them would say that they would love answering the activities, those activities they have provided, because in my lesson I would ask them to write letters, their personal letters. So it's one way of knowing themselves, and of course a way of like writing friendly letters, so it would highlight their skill in making positive connections with others. So those are some of the activities that I include in my learning modules.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Christine, for your brief answers. And now we still have some questions left. Uh, this one is from Miss Kenalin Baranda. So the question is, how do you design assessment activities in order to address students' varied learning styles? And how do you make sure that assessment matches the learning styles. Miss Valentina, your brief answer.
Okay, so actually it's kind of a dilemmatic as well for actually we need to serving their learning needs types, but also we can't deny that we have something to be assessed, yeah, the evaluation method. So for this point, so actually for the, we have two kinds of assessment, right? The formative and also summative, probably in this case. So we can go to formative. So we are going to see about the informal assessment, the progress that they make, and also about more on the kind of the effective, something like that. But by having the summative, so of course, because it needs to be standardized, so we can't what do more on that part for the accommodating all students learning types. But by having another types, which is informal assessment or formative assessment, by seeing about their progress, so I believe that it will also help them so much for seeing that actually, oh yes, actually I'm great on this, but because I realized that this is my shortages for not having, like, let's say on auditory learners, so, oh sorry, visual learners, so they will be very hard for having an interview session assessment, because they are not likely to hear, and also they are not likely to giving fast responses. So probably they will like having realize by themselves that, okay, so this is my shortages, so I need to what way better to prepare the test, for example, if they will face the listening test. But back to the questions, yes, so actually we can accommodate them by having the informal assessment or the formative assessment, the progress, so we're seeing the progress. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answers, Miss Arum. And now we have a question from, still the same, from Miss Kinalin Baranda, asking a question related to the instructional strategies which are commonly used in Cell. Dr. Christine.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So the first one is what I did before I started the presentation, the morning affirmations, or you could also always make it a routine to ask questions on how your students are doing. That's one. That's two. That's what we always do when we do the motivation part during our lessons. And of course, another one is since we're using modules, we could have problem solving. We could have problem solving activities, challenging activities, but let us always take note if it is appropriate to the level of our college students. And of course, we also have the conflict resolution skill. It is very important that whether we are using online or module, we have to use activities that are very engaging, and it is on our part as teachers on how to make these kind of activities. And actually, I believe that um, you can ask help from your instructional materials and development leaders in your schools to help you how to create a module which are like a conversational style. And I believe that would be an enjoyable thing for your students to read, that it would seem that you are guiding them step by step depending on how you you make your modules and your directions on these activities. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Christine. Wow. For me, the questions are very challenging, and it takes me a while, even myself, to reflect, yeah, how to answer these difficult questions. And I thank you all for giving us such constructive feedback and questions. And due to the time constraints that we have, we are sorry that we may not receive any more questions. But as the two presenters have shown earlier on their slides, so participants can access their email or their personal, I guess, Instagram or Facebook Messenger that they shared. And if you are willing to reach them through those platforms, then I know they will be happy, right, Dr. Christine, Miss Arum? And we also accommodate for any, let's say, a kind of other collaboration from teachers, fellow teachers or educators from Indonesia and from Philippines. All right, so this is the time that you've been waiting for after the last session, which is the exit ticket link, right? So I'd like to have the administrators help to show the exit ticket link. Thank you, Mr. Hari, for your help. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, would you please scan this QR code and also the link? Okay, I need somebody to help me out with writing down the link on the chat box that all the participants can directly access. And don't forget to help us evaluate the organization of this webinar through filling in the evaluation form found in the link. So I guess they haven't done capturing the link. Mr. Hari, would you please help me once again to show the poster? And again, we will limit everybody, limit the access for everybody to access this link, that you may no longer access this link until 2 p.m. Philippines time. So once again, you would be able to access this link until 2 Philippines time, 2 p.m. Philippines time. Okay, so this is the agreement that we have, and so as everybody can rush yourself to access this link. Okay, so while waiting for all the participants to complete this form, I would like to hear some concluding remark from the two presenters. Will that be Ms. Arum first or Dr. Kuenga first?
Okay, let me do first.
Pingsut? Okay, Miss Arum.
Proxy survivor. Okay, so if I can conclude for this sharing, for my sharing. So actually in this online learning and later on, if the pandemic is over, so we can have the offline learning back. So it's gonna be better for us as the lecturers, as the teachers or the future teachers later on, to always remember that actually what we are facing are the students who are having the unique characteristics, yeah, and also the learning styles. So it's going to be better if we try to accommodate their needs for having the kinds of the multimodality materials. Only that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Miss Arum. Dr. Kuenga?
For me, embracing SEL is about understanding that effective education is not just about the content, but it is also about the social and emotional conditions under which students and teachers are under. So thank you. Thank you very much, Sir Daniel, everyone.
Very straightforward and also thought-provoking, yeah. I guess the two presenters have given us so many insightful knowledge and tips, tricks on how to cope with this difficult situation. And shall we end these sessions? Okay, so once again, I'd like to remind all the participants that The exit ticket link could only be accessed before 2 p.m. Philippines time or 1 p.m. Indonesian time. All right, so I guess there are no more information to share here. I would like to express our gratitude on behalf of all of the organizing committee from Mercubuana University Yogyakarta, and then also from Capi State University. We thank you very much for your time, participation, energy that you have poured through this webinar. And please kindly see and wait for the next webinar sessions that will also be organized this month. Okay, so keep in touch with our social media, and we will see you again with different topics and more challenging topics and different speakers, I guess. Okay, so thank you very much once again for Miss Arum and Dr. Koinga for your time. For everybody, I'll see you again next time in the future.
Thank you. Thank you,
Goodbye.
Sir Daniel. Thank
Bye.
Have a
you,
good
Dr. Aram.
day,
Have a good day,
everyone. Stay
everybody.
healthy, stay happy.
Bye.
Thank you.
Finally, we're done.
Ay, mangayo ko nagaraya. Kamay lang ah. Ay, wala ka bilog ako. Ako bala ako. Tangin na tawa. Bigla, bigla ko. Maling mo sir ko. Hindi ko kabala mo sa atin sa pamangko. Wipe ako to ano yan? Butangan ano? Butangan sang butangan sang terpelem. Ini kan pabrik kagak jano nang ano nang ano lang nang Halo, Kak. Ya, kata Mam. Ay, paano kung submit na? Okay lang Google po. Ha? Okay lang Google. Tapos, ang mga diwala yung kamera, gawin ng buwang niya. Ang ina natin, kaya mga and